Hi guys, happy fucking Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. So, alright, Lily Moon, for your birthday, you will get a reading. What kind of reading do you want? Do you want a tarot reading? Do you want a pure channeling session? Do you want a Ouija reading? Do you want a Witch's Runes reading? Do you want a Lenormand card reading? I don't know if I said that right. I don't know. I don't have the book with me, so I don't know. Yes. So I can do all of them if you want to. So past life, contacting a loved one, anything. And holy crap, thank you guys for my public page with the certificate of the ministries. So evidently now I'm a reverend. A reverend what? I need a new name. I need a new name for this, because I want to marry people, but I'm only going to marry people of the LGBTQ community, because I can. I'm that big of a total bitch. No, I'm joking. I would never do that. Wow. This wind is insane. So, but yeah, that's pretty amazing. Pretty cool that, yeah, I had to renew. I didn't know you had to renew your license or your certificate of credentials, which I thought was pretty weird. So, and then boom, it came in the mail. I was like, oh, it's really nice. Pretty cool. So yeah, I get to do all kinds of stuff now. I get to do funeral rites, all that stuff, and I don't think I could do funeral rites. That's just fucked up. I don't do death. I don't go to funerals. I think it's ridiculous. It's stupid. I just don't like funerals. I don't do funerals at all. So, and it's really cool on their website too, though. When you go through and you see all this, stuff that you can, order for your ministries or whatever. They do have the paganism. So paganism is listed. Well, paganism is listed as a world religion, because people are turning to witchcraft and paganism over Christianity and over Catholicism and Judaism and all of the the Watchtower and the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons. Sorry, I'm not that mean. It just sounds like it. It's all these different personalities in my head. So, yeah, Lily Moon, you're reading. Your birthday's the 19th, so I will definitely do a reading for you. Definitely. Alright, so found some really neat, interesting information on a grandfather of the Celtic god Lug. Lughnasadh. Lug. However you say his name. So, giant Balor of the evil eye, which I think is pretty neat. Mythical creatures, all of this stuff. So, terrifying Fomorian king. Ooh, Fomorian. That reminds me of the magicians. I don't know why. I don't know if that is in that. Fomorian? Was it in the magicians at one point? No? Maybe? It sounds like it. So, Fomorian king and grandfather of the Celtic god Lug. Alright, so. Okay, Sutherland, ancientpages.com. Thank you for this. And thank you, my Virgo Queen, for the recommendation, because this is really interesting. So in Irish mythology, Balor? I like Balor, it sounds better. And the Fomorians represented the powers of darkness, evil, and death. Okay. Alright. Balor, also known as Balor, okay, so you can say it both ways, was the king of the Fomorians. So, like the Cyclops. Okay, I see here where we're going. He had only one magical eye that was known as the Evil Eye. And it was Balor's greatest weapon. Only one glance from his eye could kill. I think that's where we get if looks could kill. So yes, the eye was always covered with 7 very heavy eyelids. 7 eyelids. That would be odd. Like have 7 different eyelids. kind of like a horse. They have that screen, kind of like, that protects their eyes. Pretty cool. Cloaks. Okay, so like cloaks. Keeping it cool and safe, and 4 strong men were needed to lift them. Ooh. That's weird. That's just... I don't know. So when the eyelids were taken off one by one, the eye could strike down all it looked upon, and the whole land caught fire. So the eye was constantly closed, and only used against enemies on the battlefield. Alright, so why was his eye so powerful? How could that be? So according to legend, one day, Balor had spied on some druids who were preparing a portion of knowledge and wisdom. So some of it splashed out and hit him in the eye. This substance penetrated Balor's eye and gave it the magical power. Ooh, wow, so we go back to the druids with this. This is pretty neat. Alright, so tradition has it that in older age, Balor's eye became exhausted and its eyelid had to be hoisted up by his servants with ropes and lifters. So, Giant Balor credit villains.wikia.com. So, that's very interesting. So, as a leader of the Fomorians, Balor ruled in Ireland. Okay, so this is Ireland before the arrival of the settlers. So, he was very powerful with his tyrannical ruler. Ooh. Commonly associated with terror and fear, which paralyzed the Irish people. That's not cool. So, Balor himself feared no man, no enemy, but one thing terrified him much, and was his only weakness. So what was his weakness? What was his weakness? Alright, so now there's an ancient prophecy and fate. One cannot escape. It's very different too. So, wow. This wind is crazy. Crazy windy. So, it was an ancient prophecy about Balor's final destiny, so frequently mentioned in Irish mythological stories. So this druid's prophecy says Balor would be killed one day by his own grandson. So, in an attempt to trick the fate, Balor decided to imprison his own daughter. I don't know how to say her name. Ethniu, in a tower on Tory Island, away from all contact with men. Thus she could never become pregnant, and Balor's life could be spared. Holy crap. Damn, all our pine trees are like really big, and they're like bent this way. Alright, so... But once fate proves impossible to escape, I think fate is ridiculous. I do not believe in fate whatsoever. We'll explain that later. So, Balor's own greed contributed also to his downfall, for he stole a magical cow of fertility. Oh, he stole a cow? I want a cow. I want as a pet. Where'd I go? Okay, the cow of fertility, the glass goblin, having ability to produce a never-ending, copious amounts of milk. According to one version of the story, the magical cow belonged to Cyan the Mighty, or Cyan, a member of the Tuatha De Danann, okay, to retrieve the prized animal. Cyan had to come up with a plot of revenge. So, Fomorians, supernatural race of giants who came from Atlantis. Okay, so now we're getting into Atlantis with Thoth. So this is even better. I like this. Alright, so he knew the druid's prophecy about Balor's death from the hands of his own grandson, and he also knew why Balor had locked his daughter, Ethne, in a tower where she was strictly guarded by 12 matrons, preventing her from ever seeing a man. That wouldn't be too bad. Disguised as a druidess, Cayenne entered the stronghold where, I can't pronounce her name, Athene lived and seduced her. The fruitful relationship resulted in 3 children, and one of them was Lug. When Balor discovered the trick, he ordered the children to be drowned. Only one child, Lug, survived and was secretly raised. In difficult times of continuous conflict between the Dahnans and the Fomorians. So demonic creatures ruled the tyrannical king, Balor. So the Fomorians preyed upon the various settlers and waged wars against them, until they were at least defeated by the Dahnans in a terrible war, the Second Battle of Mag Turid, that ended in the Fomorians' downfall. This is really interesting. I've never heard of this creature. I've heard of the Cyclops, of course. Everybody has from H.P. Lovecraft, obviously. So, despite being half Fomorian, Lug fought on the side of Tuatha De Danann, and he played an important role in the Fomorians' downfall. So Balor struck down many Tuatha De Danann, and he could conquer them all. But first he had to meet his grandson Lug and confront his skills with his deadly eye. That's very interesting. I love this. So he ordered his servants to pull up the eyelids, and while his deadly eye was partially open, Lug chose a perfect moment to attack it. So he shot a sling stone that sank into Balor's brain, and then he cut his head off. Always does the trick. The incident wreaked chaos among the Fomorian soldiers and fulfilled the prophecy saying that Balor would die one day at his grandson's hand. That's awesome. That is seriously awesome. If that actually happened, we don't know. Jeez. But that is still very awesome. So, it is said that even as Balor lay on the ground, his evil eye was so strong that it killed 27 of his own Fomorian warriors who looked at it. Alright, this is written by A. Sutherland, AncientPages.com, staff writer. Thank you for this. Alright, wow. That is very interesting. So we have quite a few different... So we have the 10 divine weapons of the gods, the Fomorians, an Irish myth and legends, race of the demonic giants who inhabited Ireland and Scotland, 4 magical treasures of the Tuatha De Danann, and more myths and legends. So, let's do the Irish... Ooh, here we go. Oh, wow. He is very, very weird looking. Looks like something, I don't know. It just doesn't look right. So, alright, and this is from Sutherland again. AncientPages.com. Celtic tradition describes the Fomorians as rather terrifying giant creatures, horribly deformed and often mistaken for demons. So, is this like true? Or is this just legend in history or mythology? So, the Fomorians were superstitious and tyrannical. People conquered by them were either enslaved or forced a crippling tribute of 2/3 of all children and cattle born. So, now I don't want to subscribe to your newsletter. Alright, so one Fomorian with stubby legs and long arms did not resemble another with a dwarfish right arm and a normal left arm, or yet another with 2 or even 3 heads, and only the 1 eye or 3 on his head. That's very odd. So these little creatures, some of them look really cute, some of them look terrifying. Alright, so according to the Fomorian beliefs, a child without any mutation is born without any noticeable personality either. They were either accustomed to see their own mutated bodies, and a child was born normal, with all fingers and toes, was doomed to be a killer, to be killed as a monster. Oh, that would include people like us, that were born with all of our toes and fingers, and oh god. Alright, so the Fomorians, Old Irish Fomore, as a supernatural race in Irish myths. So, these giants were associated with the powers of nature, such as fog, storm, winter, and disease. I want to try to conjure fog. I wonder what kind of repercussions that would happen. I don't know. Is it worth it, trying to conjure fog? Playing with the weather? I don't think so. I don't know. Might be fun. Alright, where'd I go? Okay, they were said to have come from the sea, or under its surface. Under the surface of the sea. So the bottom? Under the bottom of the sea? Or just under the surface? And they were some of the earliest inhabitants of the British Isles, who occupied occupying both Scotland and Ireland. So Ireland had never seen anything more terrifying than the army of prehistoric Fomorians who mercilessly, raided and plundered Ireland from the sea. This is so interesting, you guys. Jeez. So the Fomorians were superstitious and tyrannical. People conquered by them were either enslaved or forced a crippling tribute of 2/3 of all children in cattle-born corn. The term Fomorian was analogous with disease, plague, and disaster. So, alright, makes sense. The term, whatever. The king of the Fomorians was Balor, a giant with an eye in the middle of his forehead. So, according to tradition, they conquered the first invaders of Ireland, the Pathalone people who invaded Ireland and settled there, introducing cattle, building of houses, and made all 4 plains cleared and habitable. That should be habitable. So after some years, they all died of a plague in a single week. Ooh. 30 years later came the Nomads, who, like those who settled Ireland before him, had a genealogy going back to biblical Noah. Nemeds managed to win 4 battles with the Fomorians, but after 9 years, Nemed and thousands of his people died of plague. So the mysterious Fomorians were again victorious until the Furblogs, the third group of invaders, arrived and subdued the Fomorians. So the Furblogs, from Furblog, the men of bags or sacks. I hate that word, that's gross. This is disgusting. So, where'd I go? Had a name given to them because during their Greek exile. Okay, so they were forced to make arable land by covering rocks with earth, which they carried in bags. Okay, that makes sense. So the Furbolgs managed to live peacefully with the Fomorians, who even decided to give them Ireland. But their hostility against the Tuatha De Danann remained forever. It's crazy. Why do I have all these videos popping up everywhere? Weird. Alright, so the Tuatha De Danann defeated the Irish giants and attempted to forge a ceasefire with the Fomorians. Ooh, what happened? Something just crashed. Probably a tree. Great. More stuff for me to pick up. Wonderful, I love it. Alright, so yes, the Tuatha De Danann defeated the Irish giants and attempted to forge a ceasefire with the Fomorians. The first attempt failed due to treachery from one side that resulted in a terrible war between the two races that ended in the Fomorians' downfall. Wow. That's really, really interesting. Really interesting. Ooh. There's some really, really neat stuff going on this page. So what do you guys think about that? Huh. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. Huh. So what do you guys think about that? Whoopsie-doopsie-doo. I think that's pretty neat. Pretty freaking cool. I mean, a giant cyclops that eye, its eye. This kind of reminds me of the Tower card with the Eye of God at the top, searing its ray and burning away the edifices of human cosmology, which I think is pretty cool. Wow. So, it's very, very interesting. Let's see. 10 divine weapons of the gods. Very interested in just mythology today. Have any of you watched on Netflix that show called You? Very interesting, very good. Okay, so, this is again from ancientpages.com, A. Sutherland. So which of the gods' divine weapons is best and most powerful? So there were quite a lot of them, as we learn from the myths, legends, and sacred books. In fact, these weapons influenced and affected the humans' past, and maybe one day they will affect the fate of humanity. Who knows? So, alright. Ooh, we have some really cool ones. So number 1 is Giant Balor's powerful beam, flux of energy. So one of the leaders of the Fomor was the Giant Balor, capable to send a powerful beam, flux of energy across the channel between Troy Island and Ireland to blast his enemies. Based on descriptions, it was rather a machine than a living creature. Okay, so another kind of altered variation on that. So also the Fomor were most probably machines with eyes that cast out a powerful beam that turned enemies into ashes. Moreover, his only eye could blast a whole army when he opened the 7 eyelids protecting it. Very, very, very cool. I think he would be a very cool protector. Yeah, a very neat protector. Okay, now we have 2, the Sphere of Lug. The shining one. So, it was also called the Invisible Spear, or Spear of Victory, and it had properties similar to the Sword of Nuada. When thrown, it momentarily hit its target. The spear was blazingly hot, and it became hotter the longer it was used. It was stored in a vat of water at night to keep it from catching fire and scorching the earth. Okay, this kind of reminds me of Lucifer with the flaming sword, or Azrael's blade. Very different, so you can kind of see where some of these shows and movies get some of their ideas. So, Lug of the long arms, sometimes long arms, or even artful hands, was the Celtic sun god who possessed this weapon. So the name Lug means light, of course, or bright. Now we have 3. We have a magical Excalibur, sword of King Arthur. Who knows if that's actually real? I really do honestly think King Arthur was real and his sword. So King Arthur's Excalibur is probably the most legendary sword ever. It has certain magical attributes, and an unbelievable legend is related to it. Alright, so legend says that there was once a sword that someone struck into a rock, claiming that the only true king of Britain would be able to remove the sword from the rock. Many strong men tried in vain to remove the sword, but failed, until one day Arthur came and raised the sword and therefore obtained the throne. So when King Arthur raised Excalibur, the legend said it was so bright that the enemies of the king were simply blinded. Okay, so I see this in, modern, popular culture. Very much so. So the sword also has some powers of its own. The person who uses it cannot die due to a hemorrhage as a result of wounds received in battle. In Welsh, Excalibur is known as I don't know. I can't even say it. Can't even say the word. Not even gonna try. For fear of butchering it. So now we have 4. We have the Archimedes death ray. So, is it possible that death rays were used in ancient times? Can we find any traces that would offer evidence our ancestors were familiar with deadly high-tech weapons? I think they were. So we begin our journey in ancient Greece, where we encounter an intriguing description of how the Greek mathematician and scientist Archimedes, born in 287 BC, created a weapon that was based on technology and ideas far ahead of his time. Probably the most famous ancient death ray was the one that was built by the Greek inventor Archimedes. Alright, so what I'm seeing with the death ray is almost like a magnifying glass to the sun, to like an ant or a piece of paper. You've all done that, I know you have. That would be considered the death ray. That's how I am kind of interpreting that. It's pretty neat. It's getting ashes everywhere. It's very neat. Very neat. Okay. Alright, now we have Thor's hammer. I would love to get my hands on one of those. Never gonna happen though. So Thor, we all know who Thor is, so was renowned as the strongest, most warlike of the gods. Hero of the Vikings, more than any other god. Thor was identified with thunder and lightning. Actually, I did catch a glimpse of some thunder and lightning last night. I thought I was going to be asleep before it hit, but I didn't. I was out after that. So, his mighty hammer returned to his hand each time he threw it. Thor's powerful weapon was said to be created by 2 dwarves. I really, really want to meet a dwarf, like a real one, named Brock and I3D? Eatri, Brock and Eatri, who made many magical objects for the gods. Before wielding his hammer, Thor was obliged to put on his iron gloves and a mysterious belt that would double his strength. Well, that's really neat. I want one. I really do. That would be awesome. Alright, so we have 6. Alright, miraculous rod of Moses. So the miraculous rod of Moses was the means of destroying the descendants of the giants. So Moses, by striking the rock with his miraculous rod, highly doubtful, I don't know, caused water to gush out to satisfy the raging thirst of the Israelites, so he parted the Red Sea with it. So Moses had used the magical rod to part the Red Sea. He also used it to perform miraculous deeds. So we can find that in Exodus 4:16, 7:19, or 17:9, and Numbers 20:11. Okay, so the rod God had given Moses represented God's authority. That's neat. That's interesting. Very interesting. So 7. Powerful thunderbolt of Zeus. So Zeus was the most powerful god of the Olympian gods. He was the master of the thunderbolt. He possessed a formidable weapon in the form of a handgun. Wow, it's cool. Launching a death ray. Which he received from the masters of lightning, the Cyclops. Alright, so that is obvious. We all know that one. Now we have the mysterious, powerful Vajra. I don't know if that's how you say that. That claw thing, which I do want. You guys all know what that is. That top one, not the bottom. So an unknown, terrible, and powerful ancient weapon could have contributed to the collapse of one or several advanced technological civilizations that existed in the distant past. Now, how cool would that be to have one of these, something like this, in your possession? I think that would be amazing. So, could it be that this mysterious... Could it be that this mysterious and terrible, how do you say that word, you guys? Vajra, a powerful thunderbolt throwing light, which was one of such unbelievable weapons. Essentially, Vajra is an indestructible substance, usually represented by diamond. Huh. That's cool. I mean, I guess it's for what? It's like a wand, maybe? Alright, so Indra, most important among the Indo-Aryan gods, the leader of the Devas and the lord of... Wow. Svargalaka, or heaven in Hinduism, is frequently portrayed wielding a powerful thunderbolt. Vajra that could not only destroy the enemy in a form of attacking flying machine, but it also had the ability to cause rain and was a symbol of fertility. There we go, that's what it's for. Wow, that's cool. So we have 9, God Poseidon's powerful trident. So according to the Greek legends, Poseidon, who would cause storms and earthquakes, drown lands, shattered rocks, and finally bring back peacefulness, possessed a magical trident. So his divine weapon that could shake the earth was created by the Cyclops, the giants, skillfully in metalurgy. So the same trident, Trishula, it's Sanskrit for triple spear, was also the weapon of Shiva the Destroyer, the most powerful god of the Hindu pantheon, and one of the godheads in the Hindu trinity. So that'd be Shiva, the Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Yeah, creator, sustainer, destroyer. That trident, which I like. Very interesting. Ooh, they really have some really neat bombs, like of ancient gods. That's really cool. Okay, anyway. 10. Apollo's powerful bow. So, in Homer's poem, Apollo is often called the one who sent the arrow afar, with reference to his bow and arrows, which commonly accompanied him. Apollo's weapon was the bow, which shot powerful darts of sunlight to either heal or slay. So these all have one thing in common: a giant beam of light. Giant beam of light. So, okay, so these were not exactly thunderbolts, but rather projectile light forms of a similar character. Projectile. That reminds me of projectile vomit. His bow had the power to spread plague and pestilence, like the one that erupted in the Greek camp during the siege of Troy. As a punishing god, Apollo often sent his arrows into the world, which were assigned with sudden and unexpected death. In ancient Greece, this was considered by far one of the most feared of the mythological weapons of the gods. Wow, that's really, 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 really awesome. Huh. I don't know. That's still really interesting. Very interesting. I don't care what you use. Cookies, whatever. And then there's another one that's really neat. I thought it was really cool. Alright, so. Where is this? How do I freaking find this? Shit. I can't open this in, there we go. Okay, the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas. So, this is very interesting. Meet Jesus' twin brother, Thomas. What do you guys think of that one? I think that's pretty amazing. So, alright, in the mid-20th century, 2 farmers made a great discovery in Nag Hammadi, Egypt. I love Egypt. A trove of biblical manuscripts that supplied insight on the divisions within the Christian church.
The Nag Hammadi Library, as the place became known, comprised at least 50 previously unseen Gospels and codices, including the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, which derived from faiths and beliefs declared to be heresies. I need to order some of these books. Alright, so, in early years of the Christian faith, preachers and supposed prophets were ubiquitous, and many beliefs and practices contradicted one another. Once the Christian faith consolidated into a single church, the Bible underwent changes. Alright, so that's when it started to change, even for the worse. And parts became omitted. Everything not included in the orthodoxy either got wiped out or condemned as heretical. The Gospel of Thomas is among the many Gnostic Gospels that the Church doesn't want you to read. So this text, among others, has led readers to question whether or not Jesus had a twin brother. So though some scholars aren't convinced that the Gospel of Thomas does present ideas and concepts absent from the Church's canological Gospels. So Thomas's name also hints that he is the twin. So the opening sentence of the Gospel of Thomas reiterates the relationship between Jesus and the supposed author. So, quote, "These are the secret words which the living Jesus spoke, and the twin Didymus, Judas, Thomas wrote them down," unquote. So described as the twin, the writer of Jesus' word has the first name Didymus, which translated from Greek means twin. Moreover, the author's last name, Thomas, also means twin, when translated from Aramaic. Pretty cool. And I love the comments on this. People are, going crazy. This is Satan trying to deceive everybody and blah, blah, blah. Really? Did you guys write the Bible? No, I don't think so. There you go. Alright, so some scholars believe that the twin refers to Thomas as Jesus' literal relative. Who were his relatives? While others think that some people saw Thomas as Jesus' closest apostle. So the Gospel claims the reader who understands will be immortal. So the first Ouija in the Gospel of Thomas could stand as a promise of immortality. So, quote, "Whoever finds the interpretation of these sayings will not experience death." And Jesus actually does say that in the Bible. Quote, quote. So while most regard this claim as an abstract promise of redemption in the afterlife, some modern scholars, like Lance S. Owens, believe that the audiences during the time of the Gospels might have had a contextual understanding disparate from that of many modern readers. So, true. Owen argues that the people of the Gospels time saw the teachings of Jesus as a personal revelation describing the relationship between humanity and the divine. So the person develops a spiritual connection with God, becoming a conduit for the divine. Next, they may experience a form of transcendent vision to reveal the real message of the Gospel of Thomas. So, thus, any modern interpretation would fail to find the Gospel's true meaning without the ancient understanding, which Owen calls the visionary hermeneutics. Alright, so the Gospel might reinforce the substitution hypothesis. So, if Thomas were Jesus' literal twin brother, this relation could call into question the veracity of Jesus' resurrection long before the Gospel of Thomas's discovery. Some hypothesize that Jesus was never resurrected. Rather, a twin or a look-alike made the ultimate sacrifice in his place or impersonated him after his passing. That's very interesting, very something to ponder and think about. Wow. So, where'd I go? Okay, so the interpretation of Thomas as a literal twin brother reinforces the possibility of the substitution hypothesis proposed in Islamic theology. So, residents of the small mountain village of Shingo, Japan, also believe Jesus may have faked his passing. However, they theorize that Jesus escaped to Japan, where he had supposedly studied theology as a young adult, to live his natural life, then was eventually laid to rest on an island, on the island country. So the early church fathers hated the Gospel of Thomas. Now I have to buy this book. Definitely. So, though it never openly states Gnostic beliefs, the Gospel of Thomas features some Gnostic implications, most notably about withholding secret wisdom or knowledge. So as the BBC puts it, according to the Gnostics, Jesus was a disembodied spirit come to deliver selected souls from matter, what keeps us as human beings, as incarnate beings. So, to deliver selected souls from matter by revealing secret knowledge. So, and it is this mystical association with Gnosticism that compelled the public to view it as heretical. So the early church fathers empathetically contested Gnosticism from the 2nd century through the 9th century, but the Gospels of Thomas proved especially infuriating to them. So early church theologian Cyril of Jerusalem said of the book, "Let none read the Gospel according to Thomas, for it is the work not of one of the 12 apostles, but one of Mani's 3 wicked disciples." So he references the Persian mystic called Mani of Ctesiphon, founder of the Gnostic religion. Wow, I don't know that word, I'm not going to say it. Furthermore, Bishop something at Eusebius said the Gospel of Thomas was part of a group text of a group of texts so completely out of accord with true or orthodoxy that they clearly show themselves to be fictions of heretics. So that doesn't really make much sense, but whatever. So some of the Gospel of John may have been written in response to the Gospel of Thomas. I wonder if I have. Is the Gospel of Thomas in any of the Bibles? So due to the chaotic power struggle during early Christianity formation, it remains a challenge to determine when certain Gospels were written. Many of these stories, and we don't know, we have no clue when they were written. Nothing. There's nothing about it. So many of these stories could have existed in oral forms years before someone wrote them down. So at the time of the Gospel's composition, there was no canon, merely a group of people telling stories about Jesus. So, what happens when someone tells a story to the next person, and on down the line? So, they traveled to different lands telling many versions of the same story. There we go. Audiences spread these travelers' stories to others, embellishing, changing, and rewriting them over the decades. Rough dates exist for a few parts of the New Testament, like the letters of Paul, but for the most part, the oral tradition that birthed these stories makes accurate dating near impossible. And that's coming from a scientific point of view. Carbon, yeah. Some scholars, however, have been pushed the idea that the Gospel of Thomas existed in some form before the Gospel of John, and that John was written in part to refute the Gospel of Thomas. So, religious historian Elaine Pagels claims that John is almost a smear piece, since it paints Thomas as clueless and without faith. So, the Gospel of Thomas may have existed before the New Testament Gospels. So, precisely dating the Gospel of Thomas proves difficult because of the differences between the writings and the age of the manuscript on which they were found. So some scholars believe that Thomas's relative independence from the 4 canonical Gospels indicates that it probably emerged before or around the same time as the other Gospels, so dating it to the middle of the 1st century CE. So, however, the manuscripts found in Nag Hammadi were dated to the early 3rd century CE. It is likely that the Gospel existed before the manuscript passed through on oral tradition, before being written down. So it does read differently than the New Testament. So structurally, the Gospel of Thomas has no parallel in the New Testament. It is a sayings gospel, which contains no acts or stories of Jesus' deeds. Instead, the gospel communicates sayings and quotes supposedly said to Thomas by Jesus. So the writer of Thomas focuses entirely on the words of Christ, purporting them to be a record of secret teachings from Jesus. And I do believe that. I do believe that he had many other teachings aside from just love. So Thomas's doubt becomes especially tragic if he were Jesus' brother. Alright, so in the New Testament, Thomas does not believe that other apostles, when they announce Jesus' resurrection, Thomas continues to doubt, saying, "Except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe." When Jesus appears to Thomas, however, he finally does believe. So this doubt gets cast into allegorical terms. Doubting Thomas refers to any that doubt Christ, but if Thomas were indeed Jesus' twin, the nature of the story would change. His doubt would no longer be solely an uncertainty of faith, but a heartbreaking story about a man who lost his brother. So it's not the only apocryphal text attributed to Thomas. So among the discovery of the Gospel of Thomas at Nag Hammadi was an enormous treasure trove of Gnostic and Proto-Gnostic texts. I want to get my hands on these guys. This is amazing. I have to go read the Hermetica again. So yes, it's amazing. Okay, so Thomas purportedly wrote a number of these texts. His writings had a distinct tradition, similar to Pauline and Johannine traditions that branched off from other forms of Christianity. So, people primarily practice the Thomas tradition in modern Syria. Do any of you practice the Thomas tradition? So, but by the 4th century's end, the tradition was mostly abandoned and the texts were gone. So the Thomasine texts include the Acts of Thomas, the Book of Thomas the Contender, the Hymn of the Pearl, the Apocalypse of Thomas, and the Infancy Gospel of Thomas. That is really interesting. That's really interesting. Wow. I really like that. That is really, really neat. So what do you guys think? Anything? I thought that's pretty cool. Love legends, love lore, all of it. It is incredibly, which is nice. It's a breath of fresh air from normal, everyday stuff. What holiday is coming up? Whatever, I do too have internet connection, unless I just went down. It's so windy. So windy that none of this wants to load. Seriously? Should be loading. I don't know what's up with this, guys. I want to do coffee talk. What the hell? I can't read coffee talk. There we go. Wow. Hi, guys. Holy crap. You guys are amazing. Holy crap. Alright. Jody Sims. Hi, my love. How are you? Alright, this was a great video. Oh, this was a great video. We love you. I love you too. GG Scars Willow said hi. Oh, I love you. I love you. I love my fangs too. Thanks for sharing the information. I do too. I really want them longer. Yeah, I do. I want to get them sharpened just a little bit. I love you. Oh, I already love that. Sorry. Alright, Kelly Snow. Hi, love. Love candle magic. I'm a candle junkie too. Oh my god, my grandma was too. Gonna have to try mint gum with my kiddo next time it works. It does. Never knew that. Spearmint works the best. Cool tip. Thanks, hon. You are very welcome. Love you, sweetie. Aw. I love you too. Love all your videos, Ryan. Thanks for sharing all that you do. Love you always. Put a smile on my face. Great pyramid. It's a beautiful piece. Unique. I actually made that. Thank you. You are so sweet. I love you. Alright. Erica Stone. Hello. How are you? I'm sure I commented on another video about the Bell Witch, but John Bell's daughter, Betsy Bell, is buried here in Water Valley down the road from me. So they called it the Bell Witch Cemetery. Ooh, I want to go. And she haunts it supposedly. After John died, she cursed the daughter. I personally never experienced anything bad there, but there was a group of us out there and a friend of mine got scratched. Anyway, it's a cool sight to see. Love your video, as always. Thank you. I would like to see that. I'm thinking of Google Earth right now. Alright, Erica Stone. Just wanted to say I just love how soft-spoken you are. You seem like the most lovely person ever. Aw, I wish everybody thought that. Thank you. I'd love to get a reading from you. Love all your videos, and just hearing you speak calms me. Hope you have a great night. I did have a really good night. Thank you. You can email me. My email is below for readings. ryanjespich@gmail.com. Alright. Hi, Satisfy. Love, love, love you. I fucking love fresh basil. For dishes. Haha, typical Italian. Yeah, big time. I have 3 basil plants at home, but dried. I use it for spells. I'll hang them up in a bundle all the time. I also like to put in my candles, ground up crystals. When the candles is burnt down, I reheat the residue, and while the texture is clear, I pick them out for reusing. That is perfect. I spit in it too. Sounds gross, but it works like blood. I believe that. I love to implement roses as well whenever nobody or somebody gifts me flowers. Yep, that's what I do. When they are about to get bad, I take the flower heads off, spread them, and put them in the sun to dry. So I use it in candles, sage bundles. When I do a certain spell, I'm really with my heart connected, etc. Sending my love to you. Oh, thank you. I like that. I love your idea. Lily Moon. Hi, darling. Okay. Wow, thank you so much for doing a reading for my birthday. Of course I will. I'll be forever grateful. I've never had anybody do my readings before. You'll be the first. I normally do my own readings. And P.S. Remember when I said we should meet? You're so calm and quiet. I'm a loud bitch. I'm not this loud, or I'm not this quiet. Hello, but love you ever so much. You're the best. Aw, I love you too. I'm not this quiet in real life. I'm very loud. Is the Italian and Romanian in me? Just doing this is calming. So this is like calming to me. Very calming. Alright. Netheria Fade. Hi, love. Thank you so much for the wonderful information. Aw. You're welcome. Oh, I about said thank you. Thank you. Alright, May Queen. How can I get your books, especially signed? I answered that, didn't I? Right? Yes, I did. Jody Sims. Excellent reading, my love. Lenormand is my favorite deck. They are scary accurate. Scary accurate. Madame Sophia. Hi, my love. Loved this reading. I started studying Lenormand recently. Let's see how my studies go. Lots of love to you. It's difficult. It's very difficult, but I'm finding it that you have to have more than one card so you can actually, see what's going on with the other cards. Very true. Alright. Shout out Kelly Snow. You are a darling. I love you. DJ Scar 17 Willows. I love you. Love you to death. May Queen. Jade. Lily Moon. What the fuck? Your friends from who's Einstein Brothers are having a meeting and we agreed. You are ridiculous. You are very ridiculous. Melody. Oh, my queen of negativity. Auburn. Luna. Hello. Hi. How are you? Four Eyes. 29. Hello. Lady Witch. Hello. Morgana. Hi. How are you? Queenie Todd, I love you. Ruth. How are you? Jasper Quinzel. Alright. Marcel Jones. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Bitter Almonds. Carl Pope. Hi. Hi, Dr. Stoner. Love you. Let's see. Sheila Nagel. Hello. Hand of Grace. Hello. Ooh, it's burning my fingers. Alright. Jessie Luna Star. Hello, my darling. How are you? Maria Renteria. Hi. Honey, I'm dead inside gaming. Oh boy. John Hirsch. Hi. Witch at the Black Rose. Hello. Unreal Human. Hi. Jessica Andrews. Hi, darling. How are you? Diana Silva. Time Temple. Desiree Smith. No, you don't hear a child hearing in the back or screaming in the background. Marjorie. Stand a Magic Man. This and that. Reagan Rockstar. Shout out. Quantum Timeline. Unreal Human. Oh, hi. Again. It's Dr. Stoner. Henry Okafor. Shout out. Melandra Rose. Let's see. Who else? Am I missing anybody? Weed Goddess. Hi. Love you. To death. Magical Mia. Hi, love. How are you? Philosophy of the Stars. Hello. Where's the guy that said... Let's see. Anders, Angel, and Reason. Hello. Shout out. Andy Apocalypse. Happy fucking Friday. Oh god, there's some really fucking stupid people on here. Not any of you guys, just trolls. Michael Crocker. Hello. Alright, guys. Well, that was interesting. Very interesting. So, let me know what you guys think about the new, or the full moon, just the little ritual that we're gonna do with the candle magic from yesterday's video. And yeah, if you guys have any stories that you want read or shared, just send them to me. My email, if you have any questions, anything, just email me and I will gladly ouch, gladly answer you back. So I hope you guys have a good weekend. Be safe, very safe, and I love you all very much. All the way from Venus all the way back down. That felt really good. That was amazing. There we go. Alright guys, I love you all and thank you for watching. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So, have a good day.